Before I get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick synopsis of what's transpiring. First, we've got to talk about the XRP price action, which is still sitting right around the 48-cent mark. We've been unable to break the 484 level, which this is very bearish, especially if we can't get over 49 cents and ultimately over the 51-cent mark. This should bring us back down in the immediate short term, back down to the rising channel support at about 45 cents. But we're going to see what we have to do on the price action on the actual XRP charts to be able to push out of this range. But it looks to me overly bearish here. It looks like maybe not even 45 cents is going to be a big enough correction when this starts to take place. It looks like to me we should be preparing for about a 20 to 25% correction, and it should bring us down to the 2020 uptrend around 38 cents. We also are going to read an article at the end of this live, or update, I should say, not live, at the end of this update, where Ripple, they speak on the fact that they're fighting this SEC lawsuit until the end. So if you're expecting some kind of settlement on the 29th at the Ripple party in New York, I don't think it's a settlement. I think there's probably less than a 5% chance that it's going to be a settlement discussion. They are fully willing to fight this until the end because they know the implications, and they've got to be the savior for crypto here against the SEC, or at least that's the way it's designed. And that's going to be a very important part of this update at the end. So watch the beginning of this update for the technical analysis. Watch the end for what Ripple said about how they're fighting the SEC all the way until the end. And then also, the most important thing you can do is hit that like button here as we go into the intro. Make sure you hit that like button. It will greatly help push me through the analytics. I have no marketing budget, so I rely very much so on this audience and myself to get the word out. So make sure you hit that like button and hit the share button. Remember, it's our job to stay positive. Positivity over negativity. We don't play the victim in this community. We play the winner. And playing the winner, you have to have all the information to make an educated and informed decision, not just on the charts, but the news alike. I appreciate each and every one of you. You bless me each and every day. As in this community, I live by these words. We are the light surrounded by a world full of darkness. So it's our job to be inclusive and not dividing. I'll catch you on the other side of the intro. Good morning, 10:26 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, September 13th, 2023. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So let's get through this as quickly as we can so that you can see the morning update. XRP's up 0.21% at 4811. We still have done nothing of significance, nothing of substance here. We're still within the natural progression here of the chart. We were unable to push over, as we've talked about, that 51 cent mark, which allowed us to correct towards the bottom of the channel. We've come down as low as 4591. We've had a small correction back, as we talked about yesterday, to see if we're first layer resistance, which would be this 484 level. And if we can break past the 484, which seems more than likely that you could have a retest at the structure formation breakdown, and I'll show you once it loads. But this is where we were looking for a retest at the 200-day, which we've gotten now. In the last roughly 6 hours, we've gotten that retest we talked about yesterday. So we're going to see if that retest is appropriate or if we have to come back within this formation. Once you come back within the formation, the top end potential becomes right around 54 cents. Let's just call it for what it is. If you get back up in there. But as of right now, we first haven't been able to get above 484 and hold. Now we need to get above 49 cents to get back within this formation. The fact we got rejected at 484 on the shorter pattern and the shorter time frame is pretty interesting because we went above and came right back through. We do have a bullish cross here in the 45-minute, 20 cross in the 50, but we're being squeezed right now between the 20-day support and then the resistance at 484. If we go into the 2-hour time frame, we've gotten a hold right now in the 2-hourly, so we'll see what happens here. This looks very bearish, though, to me. It still looks very bearish. Sure, we could come up and try to retest that 54 cent area But other than that, I mean, you'd have the 524 in between there as well. What I'm looking at is this pattern right here. This is the all-time pattern. We broke down out of this formation, and now we're back testing it. If we get a rejection here, to me, I'm not sure 44 or 45 cents, will hold. To me, I feel like the next breakdown is going to be about 38 cents. So we're going to be looking at a better than 20% correction, I believe. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong, but I'm looking at a better than 20% correction down to the 2020 uptrend, and that is firmly what I'm looking at. If we can break out of this and somehow first push past the 49 cent area, then push into the the first area is 484 you have to take, and then you take 49 cents, then you would have to take 524, and then ultimately 54 cents to start reversing this narrative. Seems like too much to do here with not enough pressure. So that's what I'm looking at for XRP's technical analysis. And then to end this out, Ripple says it will fight the SEC lawsuit all the way until the end. Ripple said that it plans to fight the ongoing lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission all the way through. Its president, Monica Long, told CNBC, Ripple is among crypto companies such as Binance and Coinbase, which are being sued by the SEC for violating laws. Crypto leaders have slammed the U.S. and its approach to regulation, particularly for a lack of clarity. I don't like that comparison between Binance and Coinbase. Those are exchanges. XRP is the actual token. It's not an exchange for itself. So these are apple to oranges comparisons. You're talking about Coinbase and Binance having severe violations for the way that they're manipulating their funds. It is a completely different circumstance. U.S.-based cryptocurrency company Ripple says it's planning to fight the ongoing lawsuit with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission all the way through. We're planning to continue to fight the case all the way through, Monica Long, Ripple's president, told CNBC on Monday. The lawsuit between Ripple and the SEC has stretched for nearly 3 years. In 2020, the SEC accused Ripple and its co-founders of breaching securities laws by selling $1.3 billion of its native token, cryptocurrency XRP, without first registering it as a security, which was just a dumb move in my opinion. Ripple disputed the claims, insisting XRP cannot be considered a security and it is more akin to a commodity. In July, a landmark ruling, U.S. District Judge Annalisa Torres determined the token was not necessarily a security. We also got clarity in that lawsuit, and the judge's order in that case said very clearly XRP in and of itself is not a security, which kind of opens the door to us to really expand our business, not just in the U.S., but even more globally. So Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, this crypto ruling puts the SEC in check in a good way. And then I'll let you guys go.
There you go. Both.
So it's been almost 3 years of litigation. You've been fighting the SEC, and there's been a lot of confusion about what this court decision John mentioned actually means. What is the direct impact for your company, Ripple, and for the broader crypto industry right now?
Well, 2.5 years ago, when the SEC first sued us, we said publicly that this wasn't just an attack on Ripple, it was an attack on the entire crypto industry. And I think we did see that play out with the SEC getting more and more aggressive in really trying to regulate through enforcement, which we clearly don't think is a healthy way to do it. I think this is a huge win, not just for Ripple, but for the whole industry. I think it really is the first time the SEC has lost a crypto case and really puts the SEC, some of the SEC's narrative and comments that they make publicly about all of these digital assets being securities, it puts that in check, and I think in a very good way. And hopefully it also drives the legislative process, because it doesn't make sense to try to regulate this through enforcement, but rather let's have clear laws about this that allow rules of the road for all entrepreneurs.
And so, Brad, if this undercuts the SEC's argument, who do you think should be policing these tokens? The industry has really been in the headlines for things like fraud and, frankly, grifts in the past 2 years or so. Do you expect Congress to step up? And if not, is there a gap right now in regulation?
Well, I think the SEC, what we found through their emails and during this litigation, is that they even identified that there is a gap, and we saw that in the emails they were exchanging internally. So I think there is a gap, but look, like any industry, you're going to potentially have bad actors, but the vast majority of people I interact with that are builders and using these technologies to build a better infrastructure for financial transactions, for real estate. There are a lot of different use cases for blockchain and crypto that really can be profound. Ripple has been focused on cross-border payments as a starting point. But look, I think you're going to see an incredible number of use cases for these technologies, and having clear rules of the road allows for the investment, allows entrepreneurs to lean in. I think the SEC just has been wrong as a matter of law, and it has really stifled the innovation here in the United States.
Brad, it's clear to see that this is not a win for the SEC, but it's hard to see how it's a win for crypto in the sense that this just puts this back into the lane of either Congress to figure out, and we know how long Congress takes to figure things out, or it just raises the question, when's it going to be clear? It doesn't make sense, frankly, that something's a security sometimes, but not a security other times. It introduces all kinds of uncertainty into transactions and investments that people probably are going to want to hold for more than 2 or 3 years. So, how do you feel about the UK Financial Conduct Authority's new proposed rules on crypto assets? Because we might end up somewhere closer to where they're headed.
Look, I feel very good about what we have seen, not just from the UK, but frankly, I mean, the fact that the European Union, 27 countries came together to create something they called MiCA. And the fact that we can't have one country here in the United States provide any leadership or clarity. But look, John, I'll take the other side of some of what you said. There is now clarity. The rule of law in the United States is clear that XRP is not a security when traded on exchanges, when used for payment. There's a whole bunch of things in the judge's ruling that make it very clear about XRP. The SEC has been clear about Bitcoin also. Now, the unfortunate reality is right now there's clarity for two, Bitcoin and XRP. That's not a good thing. I mean, it might be good for Bitcoin and XRP, but it's the reason why we have been calling for clarity for years, even before this lawsuit. And it's, I think, really a call to action from Congress. You saw representatives like Tom Emmer tweeting yesterday that this really is yet another call to action. And I'm optimistic we're actually going to see some forward momentum in Washington to provide some of the clarity that the SEC has really been fighting in some ways and almost sowing confusion.